Hey guys, welcome back to Heart Breathings. Today I am so excited to show you a complete flip through of my custom designed HB90 Method Planner. That is a planner for creative entrepreneurs and mainly for writers, but it can apply to anyone who is really setting goals. And it has over 40 pages of goal setting pages. And then it has a monthly, weekly, and a daily planner all included in a printable. And I will explain kind of what sizes and everything you get with it and show you just basically the walkthrough of all these goal setting pages. This is a system that has single-handedly transformed my life and helped me to have one of the most productive, most joyful, least stressed years of my life. And I would love for you to take a look at it if you've been interested in seeing what is in the custom planner. If you're interested in purchasing this planner, you can find links to it down below. It's for sale right now on Etsy, and there is both dated planner for Q1 of 2019 as well as the undated planner that you can print over and over for any quarter. And if you've been interested in my videos that I've done about the Kanban board and stuff like that, this planner kind of teaches you how to set up the Kanban board and set your goals for the quarter. So here we go. I'm going to show you a walkthrough of this custom planner. It is more than just monthly. It has monthly, weekly, and daily pages, but it's more than just that. It's an entire goal setting system that helps you to plan for 90-day segments, which is why it's the HB90 method, Heart Breathing's 90-day system. And this is the Q1 2019 planner that just has gone up in Etsy, and I will link that down below if you're interested in grabbing it. You will need a printer. It has some color in it, so if you send it out to print it at like Staples or whatever, just make sure you get a quote of the price first, because it can be pricey to print a color document at Staples. But if you have a printer at home, it's super easy to print. It will come in the A5 version and the letter size version, which is like more of the full size sheet, all in the same download, so you could use it either way. So basically the Q1 planner walks you through a whole goal setting system. So there's quote pages like this one from C.S. Lewis that says there are far, far better things ahead than any we leave behind, which I felt was great for the beginning of the year. Then it has goal setting pages that sort of walk you through how to use the planner. So you'll see those in, every few pages, you'll see directions. And then I have in this particular planner a 2018 review that really asks you to reflect on the previous year. And then, so there's 4 pages of review, then another quote page, then there's a vision statement segment. So part of my system is really not only reviewing the last year, but also getting a vision of what your ideal life looks like. So I ask you a lot of questions about your ideal life, what matters most to you, what do you want to accomplish? Because when you set goals, you need to know kind of where you're headed. What's your vision for your life? Then you've got some other segments here, and you might not be able to see this super well from that distance, but I'm gonna see if you can see it if I go closer up. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there is a very light dot grid on this. I think you can see it a little bit. So there is a dot grid here for you to kind of guide your drawings and stuff like that. So it's got the journaling pages, then it has like a page here to get specific about what your ideal day looks like and feels like. And then again, this is all dot grid pages. And this is where I want you to put together a vision board with images and words and how you really see your dream life. So it walks you through all of that. Sorry, this little segment, these rings are not perfect right here. I've noticed with this Webster's pages, and I've really got it packed. So not turning super easily. Then you've got a section to declutter your brain, and it walks you through why we're doing it, how you're going to do it. So then I'm going to ask you to make 3 lists: what you need to do, all the things that you feel you should be doing in your business and your life, and all of the things that you really kind of want to do and haven't had time for. Then in this system, I've got this priority box here that walks you through everything you just put on these lists and asks you to prioritize them according to this box. So I've got all the instructions of how it works and examples and that sort of thing. Another quote page. And then before we can actually set your goals, you're gonna look realistically at your time schedule, which I have this time estimator, which again, I have instructions here that walk you through how to use the time estimator. But basically what you're doing is you're looking ahead to the next quarter, which is January, February, and March. There are 90 days in the quarter exactly. and you're gonna look and you're gonna mark off all the days you know you're not gonna be working, or like weekends, or like my birthday is January 23rd, so I'd probably mark that day off as not a working day. And then you look at how many days you're actually gonna be able to work so that you can be realistic. If you are an entrepreneur, then you understand that a lot of us are not realistic about our time. We think, oh, I've got 3 months to get that done, or I've got a year to get that done. And we think we can write like 10 books in a year or whatever ridiculous amount of things, instead of looking realistically at time. So that's why we do the time estimator. Then there's a section here for writing out your ongoing tasks, which these are things that you're already doing in routine. So for example, you might be posting to a Facebook group every day, or you might already have a routine of spending 10 minutes posting to Instagram every day. But anything that's like considered an ongoing task, not your writing specifically or like your work tasks, but the more like admin type tasks, like, oh, I look at my email every day, or that kind of thing, and how much time do you spend doing it. Then I have an exercise that walks you through your ideal week, and I have an example of like my ideal schedule, and we talk about theme days and different things like that. And then you've got a section here where you can work out your own ideal weekly schedule, more quote pages. And then we get to the actual goal setting work. So you can see like going through this planner really walks you through a system of how to figure out what your ideal vision for your life is, and then how to take a realistic look at the time you have and all the things you need to be doing, and figure out exactly what kind of goals you need to be working toward. So inside this planner, I discuss the difference between a goal, a project, and a task, and give lots of good examples on what's the difference between a goal and a project. And that is going to help you brainstorm on these pages, which has more dot grid. Brainstorm potential goals for yourself. And then what you actually do now that we get to this page is you're going to actually set your 3 goals. And in my system, there are only 3 goals. And one of the big things is a differentiator between, a goal is not, I'm going to write 3 books. A goal is, I'm going to increase my income to $5,000 a month. And then a project that would help you increase your income is the writing of the books. And that kind of oversimplifies it. But if you get the planner and you want to look at this system, or if you want to join my Heart Breathing's 90-day boot camp, it's a 3-day boot camp teaching you how to plan 90 days according to this system. I'll walk you through the difference between a goal and a project, and figuring out which things should be your goal, and which kinds of projects will help support those goals. But if you get the planner, it kind of walks you through a lot of this system. Then you've got a section here for, it's kind of like a future idea parking lot, where you can put some of your future ideas for like Q2, Q3, and Q4 of next year, and Q1 of 2020. So it kind of allows you to sort of sketch out what you might be doing in the future, so that you can only focus on the things that are your goals and projects for this quarter, but you kind of know what's coming up for you in the future. Then I have more explanation of how you take a look at the time that you have, that we estimated how much time you have, how you can figure out how many projects you can fit into the actual time you have, and how you break those projects down into tasks, another quote page, and then here's your project brainstorming, where you take like your first goal. Let's say your first goal was to increase your income to $5,000 a month. Then you would choose which projects you're going to work on this 90 days only that are going to help you hit the goal of making $5,000 a month. So these projects will be specifically related to trying to make more money. So this would be maybe where you're like promoting your backlist, or writing more books and publishing more books, coordinating with other authors, like cross promotion, maybe working on your newsletter list so that you can get more sales out of the people that are already on your list. Or let's say you aren't a working writer, you're just someone who writes in your spare time and you've got a full-time job. Goal number 1 might be to increase your writing productivity by 50% this next quarter. So all of these projects would be relating to getting more focused on your writing. So one of your projects might be to write 500 words a day. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. So you break down that goal into projects that help you achieve that goal. So here you're kind of brainstorming how many projects, like all the projects you could think of, and you're writing down how many days you think it's going to take to complete each project according to goal 1, 2, 3, and then there's just an extra page in case you need to print more of them. Then here's where you actually set your final goals. So you write your goal, the project that you know, because like maybe when you're filling out this project brainstorm, you're going to find out that you have, let's say, 70 working days this quarter, but it would take you 500 days to complete all the projects you thought you were going to try to do. And that's where the realistic time frame comes in and the estimates come in, because you can say, okay, I only have 70 days, so I can only pick the most important projects to focus on that will take me no more than 70 days to complete. So then once you've marked off the ones that, you know, maybe you'll do in the future or you don't have time for this quarter, this is where you actually set up which projects and decide which projects. And if you want to, you can write a starting date, when you plan to finish it, and how much time it's going to take you. And then there's another little dot grid box here that you can take notes in as you go through the quarter. So you might have a project to, you know, write the rough draft of book 4 in your series, and you're going to start it on January 1st. You're going to end it on February 20th. So your estimated time is 50 days to complete it, or 51 days to complete it. Over here in the notes section, you might say, actually, it took me 60 days. Here's why it took so long. Here's how many days I wrote per, you know, you could just take any kind of notes there that you want to take. So I have sheets like that for goals 1, 2, and 3. Now, what you do is you can take the project planner, which is where you write down a project. So say it was your project is to write the rough draft of book 4 in your series. You write down the start date, the end date, your estimated time, and then there's a place here to put how much time it actually took you. You can describe the project, and then here you can write out all the tasks that go into this particular project. So this is how we break down your goals versus your projects versus your tasks. So if your project is to, you know, write a rough draft of a book, then your tasks might be things like plot the book, write out a character sketch, write the rough draft of book 1, write the rough draft of act 1, write act 2, write act 3. Or you might even break it down to, if you knew there were going to be 50 chapters, or you knew you were aiming for 50,000 words, your task could be, you know, 50,000 words broken down into 1,000 word tasks, which I'll explain more with the Kanban board, but you might want to say each task is 1,000 words, but you can break that down however you want. And then if it was like the next project was to actually publish the book, then your tasks might be things like send your book to the beta reader, send your book to the editor, complete your own self edits, send it out to ARC team or whatever. So you've got all these things that you can put on your tasks. Now in the planner, I only provide those 2 project planner pages, but you may have like 20 projects for the quarter. So since this is a printable planner, you can just print these pages 20 times if you have 20 projects. And some people won't want to go and get this granular with like writing it all out. Maybe you don't want to write it out, so you won't use these pages. It's really just here as a tool for anyone who does want to use it. Then on this final page of the goal setting section, I have the explanation of the Kanban board. I will put a link up on the screen that takes you back to how I set up my Kanban board for 90 days, but this gives you an explanation of how to set up your own Kanban board, which on the Kanban board, you're gonna put your tasks and milestones, and I talk a little bit about milestones here. So I have all of these goal setting pages in this first section, and I'm gonna actually be starting to fill these out for myself for Q1 coming up in the next week. Then in this next section, I have, this is stuff from my old like Q4 planner, and this is what goes in the next page. So actually in the planner, this page is followed by this page where you can set out your milestones for January, February, and March. So not only do I have the 90-day plan, but I kind of know what things need to get done by the end of January, February, and March, and I can mark them off as I go according to goals 1, 2, and 3. So it's just an extra tool for you to use. Then I have this segment that kind of explains how to use your planner. I've got an overview of 2019 with not just the months, but some lined section underneath each month if you wanted to write out like what your projects were that you're tackling each month of the year. Then I also have a calendar for 2020 where you can kind of sketch out what you think you're going to be working on next year. And then after that comes the months. And in the actual planner, the months are not all together like this. This is just how I chose to print it because I like to have my months separate. In the actual planner that you'll get in the digital download, it would have January, and then it would go straight into the like weekly pages for January. And then February would come up when that week comes up. So it's just kind of how you want to print it. But that's one of the cool things about having a printable planner is you can kind of print it however you want. But my design for the monthlies is basically just a basic month with notes section on the side. And I like to put, so you'll see with my December, for example, here's my December monthly. I'll put the different projects that I'm working on this month over here on the side. And when they're finished, I will cross them off. So I've got the 3 months there that are included in Q1. And then in the next section, I have my weekly setup. So I'm going to show you guys just quickly kind of how the weeks are set up in this particular planner. And I personally do not print out everything. Like I don't print the entire quarter because when you're dealing with 6-ring binder, you just don't have enough space to print all these pages. So I just print like a month at a time. So you can do it kind of however you want. But here's how the weekly layout is set up. First, you kind of have a weekly overview page where you have a section for your tasks according to goal 1, goal 2, and goal 3. So you can put out your projects. I like to write out the actual tasks that I'm going to be working on this week. Then there's a section for other tasks, like anything else that needs to get done that's not really on your 90-day plan. Then I have a growth tracker, which these are blank because you might be tracking something different from me. I track my Facebook page, my Coven, my Instagram, my YouTube, and my newsletter. So at the beginning of the week on Sunday, I will write in what numbers I have of followers. So I have like 11,056 people who liked my Facebook page. And at the end of the week on Sunday next week, I'll put the ending and then how many people I added to my Facebook page this week. Then I have a section for my work in progress. And if you are not a writer, you know, this might not apply to you, but you could maybe kind of white this out and use it for something else. So I've got that I'm working on Fate's Surrender, I'm finishing up some plotting, and I'll be doing some writing. And I usually have a goal here of how much I wanted to write, but I wasn't sure since I'm also launching the HB90 Bootcamp, how much time I would have for writing. So I didn't really set a goal this week. For my blog, I have a section to put what title, what keywords I'm using, whether the post was written, if my images are done, SEO, scheduled and shared. And then I have a section to write what are my absolute top priorities for this week. Then there's the weekly spread. And on the weekly spread, it's basically a section here on the left for your work in progress, any notes you want, some habit trackers over here. The columns are, obviously I've decorated for my week, but the columns are just, let me see if I have an extra one for next week. I don't think I do. I don't think I have it printed for next week, but the columns are just blank with dot grid. And then here at the bottom, there's 5 little check marks that you could put your social media or your like daily tasks or whatever it is you wanted to do. And you could write your schedules out up here if you wanted. And then there's a section here for whatever promos you're running. And then there are daily pages. So the daily pages, basically I can show you a blank one of those, I believe. No, I've put something in all of them. I've put stickers on all of them. But basically it just has the date, 3 lines here if you wanted to put your 3 priorities for the day. It has the time from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. so you can set your schedule. And then it's got 3 basically blank boxes. So you can use them however you want. I like to personally use them for like, here's what I'm doing. Here's any like little things that have like, so here's my like to-do list for the day, my schedule for the day, and anything else I needed to remember. And then usually this box is for writing sprints. And obviously I didn't actually do any, so I don't have anything in that box. So this is just kind of a weekly and daily spread that you can use. Then on Sunday, you've got Sunday on the left, and on the right, you kind of have a weekly review that asks you questions like, what am I most proud of this week? What challenges did I face? What do I do next week to make it great? Am I on target to hit my 90-day goals? What do I need to do to catch up or continue to succeed? And so on. And then there's a section here at the bottom to write out what your expenses are, what your sales were, and what your income was for this week, for this month, or for this year. And again, if you're not actively publishing, this might not apply to you, so you might just cover it with stickers or repurpose it in another way. But it's really good for people who are working writers. And then when you turn the page, you're back to those tasks list and the weekly review that you had. Now, if you were to download the planner. If you don't feel like you need a page for every day and all you want to use is the weekly page, then you get 4 downloads if you purchase the planner. You get the A5, that's the complete planner with all the daily pages. You get the letter size with all the daily pages. But then I also have created an A5 size that doesn't have the daily pages, it just has the weekly pages. So in the weekly version of the planner, you still get this task layout where you write out all your tasks, your growth tracker, your blog posts, and whatever. You still get the weekly page that has the whole week on 2 pages that you can plan it in that way if you want. And then instead of the daily pages, what it has is it still has this week in review, and then it just has a blank dot grid page here. So each week is just basically 3 spreads. You've got the overview spread, the weekly spread, and then the week in review. So it's got those 3 pages for every week instead of all the daily pages, because especially if you're using the big letter size, some of you might find that like a full page, letter size page for every day is too much. So you might just want to print the weekly version. So I give you all 4 of those versions in the planner. And that is basically the entire HB90 system that walks you through. It's over 40 pages of goal setting pages for you to set your goals for the quarter and then really follow through with your tasks. Then some bonus pages in the very back. You have this writing plan, which I've got a video on how to fill this out as well, where you can kind of estimate how many words you need to write, what your starting date is and your goals, and then a review. And then on the back, it has a word count tracker that you can put your sprints and so forth on these pages. Then it also has some blank kind of notes pages that you can print as many of those as you want. So it's just basic note pages. And then there's a blog post brainstorm page that you can use to brainstorm any of your blog posts that you have coming up. And there seems like there might be one more page that I added to it, but I'm not exactly sure. These pages that have the little monthly overview came from a different planner, not from my planner. So I think that's all that I have is the blog post brainstorm, the notes pages, and the writing plan with the sprints word count tracker. And that is my entire custom HB90 planner. If you are interested in purchasing that, the planner is $15 for the Q1 planner. And it's available right now, and every quarter I'll have a new one up. Or if you are interested in the undated version, the undated version does not have dates on it. It's still the same 90-day planner. It doesn't have the 2018 review because you might be using it at a different time of the year. So it just has the basic other pages for goal setting without the review. And it's undated, so you can print it every quarter over and over again instead of buying a new one. So those are both available, and the undated version is $30. And again, this is a printable planner, so you need to have a printer at home or send it out to a printer, but just be aware if you send it out, it could get kind of expensive, especially if you do it in color. The only color in the planner is basically just some very light pink, and some of the words along the way are kind of written in this green. Not a lot of color, but a little bit. So that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video about my walkthrough of my custom HB90 method. Right now, registration is open for my 3-day boot camp where I walk you through this entire process and we go much deeper than even the planner goes. For 3 days, it's kind of like a goal setting intensive, and it will run on December 14th through the 16th. And even if you can't attend live, then you can, if you buy the course, you can take it in January or whenever. You'll have access to it forever. And the course is normally $149, but I will give you guys $30 off if you use the coupon code 30OFF. I have all that information in the description box below. So you can join for $119. And if you join the boot camp, you get the planner for free. So I would love to have you join me. But if you can't join the boot camp, but you're interested in the planner, I'll leave the link to Etsy down below. And even if you don't buy the planner or the boot camp, hopefully some of this goal setting information here has helped you kind of get an idea of how you might better organize your own life and business and help you set your goals for 2019. And don't forget, you guys, this Saturday coming up, December 8th at 4 p.m. Eastern time, I'm gonna go live here on YouTube with a how to set your writing schedule or your writing goals for 2019 live workshop that will come with a free download that you guys are gonna be able to get from my blog on how to like realistically look at how much you can write or get done in 2019. So I would love for you to join me there. And that's it. If you're not subscribed to this channel, I really hope that you will subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll get notified whenever a new video comes up from me. And be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. I really appreciate it. All right, I will see you in my next one. Bye.